Good morning. I'm Greg Longini of the Chicago Transit Authority's Board, Office of the Secretary. On September 7th, 2022, the Office of the Secretary issued a notice of change format of meetings of committees and a board meeting scheduled for September 14th, 2022 due to COVID-19 pandemic. There is currently in effect a statewide disaster declaration as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has been renewed from month to month since the start of the pandemic. Authority's Board, Office of the Secretary E of the Open Meetings Act, virtual public meetings are permitted while the disaster proclamation remains in effect. Because of the governor's disaster proclamation remains in effect in the state of Illinois, the meetings on September 14th, 2022 are being held electronically or virtually for members of the public. We may now proceed to the first meeting, which is the September Strategic Planning Committee meeting. Chairman Miller, we are ready to begin.
Good morning, everybody. Before we begin the committee meeting, Chairman Barclay would like to have a few words at this time.
Thank you, Director Miller, and good morning to everyone. Before we start the Strategic Planning Committee meeting, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and welcome a new member of our board, Nima Jah, who was appointed by Governor Pritzker. Director Jah is a business transformation leader with an extensive background in technology, strategic planning, and finance. Director Jah is a principal customer practice leader at Amazon Web Services, where she uses her expertise to develop innovative and customer-centric solutions for the company. She's previously held leadership roles at Tribune Media Company and Deloitte. On behalf of the Board of Directors, we'd like to welcome Director Jah, and we look forward to working with you. President Carter, would you like to have a few words at this time to welcome Director Jah?
Thank you, Chairman Barclay. I've had the opportunity to meet with Director Jah and to talk to her about CTA and the role that she'll play as a member of the board. I think that her background and experience is going to be extremely helpful for us as we continue to transition out of this pandemic and continue to be innovative and integrating new technology and new strategies to support our customers in the city that we serve. So I am excited to have her as a board member. I look forward to working with her going forward, and I know that myself and the rest of my staff are very grateful to have someone with her expertise and knowledge as an additional member to the board itself.
Thank you, Director Jah. Would you like to have a few words?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, everybody. It's an honor to be part of this team, and I look forward to bringing my transformation and innovation hat here to see how we can move even further forward and make CTA the gold standard here in transit system for US. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd now like to return the meeting back over to Director Miller to commence the Strategic Planning Committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Barclay. I will now call to order the September the 14th Committee on Strategic Planning and Service Delivery. Would the Secretary now call the roll?
Yes, Director Ortiz.
Here.
Director Lee will not be here today. Director Barclay.
Here.
Chairman Miller.
Here.
We have a quorum with 3 members of the committee present, sir.
Thank you. Okay, our next order of business is the approval of the minutes of the June the 8th, 2022 committee minutes meeting. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Ortiz, second by Director Miller. Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Barclay?
Yes.
Chairman Miller?
Yes.
That motion is approved with 3 yes votes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Greg. Okay, our report on the fare box by Molly will be deferred at this time. And
noted.
So then, since there's no other business to be conducted, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Ortiz, second by Director Miller. Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Barclay?
Yes.
Chairman Miller?
Yes.
That motion is approved and we are adjourned. You may now proceed to the Committee on Finance, Audit, and Budget. Chairman Silva?
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to call to order the September 14, 2022 meeting of the Committee on Finance, Audit, and Budget. Will the secretary call the roll?
Director Jakes,
Here.
Director Ortiz,
Here.
Director Lee will not be here today. Director Miller,
Here.
Director Barkley,
Here.
Chairman Silva.
Here.
We have a motion with 5 members present. Excuse me, I'll let the record show that Director Jha is also attending this meeting.
Our next order of business is the finance report.
Chairman,
I'm sorry.
can we, the minutes?
Our first order of business is the approval of the committee minutes of August 10, 2022. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Ortiz, second by Director Jakes. Second by Director Miller. Director Jakes,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Barkley,
Yes.
Chairman Silva.
Yes.
That motion is approved with 5 yes votes, sir.
Our next order of business is the finance report. Jeremy Fine.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Jeremy Fine, your Chief Financial Officer, and I'll be going through the results for July as well as year-to-date numbers. With regard to our revenues for July, you see they're following a similar trend for the first 6 months of the year, where we see fair and pass total slightly above budgeted expectations for about $700,000 on both an amended and original budget basis. Reduced fare subsidy continuing to come in as expected, albeit it has been cut since 2015. Non-fare box totals continue to come in positive by about $700,000 on both an amended budget and original budget basis. And then total revenue for the month of July, we see a positive variance of about 1.4 million, both on an amended and original budget basis. For the month, we're about $2.7 million better than where we were in July of 21. On the next page, you see year-to-date numbers following a similar type form for each of the various lines. We drop down to the bottom for total revenues. So we see total revenues coming in about $5.1 million better than the amended budget and about $4.5 million better than the original budget on a year-to-date basis. The variance to 2021 year-to-date is very positive to the tune of about $46.1 million. So a lot better than where we were this time last year. With regard to our expenses, you see they're following a similar positive trajectory. We see labor coming in a little under $14 million of positive variance to both the amended and original budgets. Material essentially flat, slightly positive. Fuel and power continue to see positive variance on both of those lines. And then injuries and damages and security services coming in essentially flat or slightly positive, and other expenses coming in positive by about $4.5 million. So overall, for the month of July, we see expenses coming in a little under $22 million of positive variance, both on an amended and original budget basis. Year-to-date numbers follow a similar type form. Dropping down to the bottom line here, the total operating expenses for the amended budget are a positive $74.3 million. And on an original budget basis, a little over $107 million of positive variance. Again, if you factor in the positive variance that we see on the revenue side, those numbers are about $79.4 million on the amended budget and about $112 million on the original budget on year-to-date numbers. This positive variance on our public or on our system-generated revenues and expenses, coupled with our public funding, has allowed us to do smaller draws, which we'll talk about more in a moment. Public funding, as I mentioned, is coming in positive. We see here for the month of July, we see again positive variance on sales tax by about $2.5 million. PTF coming in about $1.5 million to $2 million favorable. The real estate transfer tax essentially flat, slightly positive, slightly negative based on the amended budget or original budget basis. And then PTF on rent and ICE coming in at budget. So overall for the month of July, we see about $2.5 million of positive variance to the amended budget and about $5.5 million of positive variance to the original budget. If you flip to the next page, you see how this rolls up on a year-to-date basis. And again, versus the amended budget, we see about $20.5 million of positive variance there, and a little over $50 million, $50.4 million of positive variance versus the original budget. Again, public funding coming in positive, system-generated revenues and expenses coming in positive have allowed us to make smaller draws on our public relief funding that we received from the federal government. And you see that on the next page. You see here that we're only drawing about $2.4 million of funds for the month. You see that we're drawing now against CRISA, ARP, and ARP discretionary. We will continue to do this as long as those funds are still available for use until they're extinguished. And this is the first draw that we're making against ARP discretionary funding. But again, we've teed it up so that we'll make active draws on a monthly basis against all three outstanding grants that we've received for federal relief. You see on the one of the right columns here, percentage of drawn total allocation. We're still hovering around that 40% of total allocation drawn. So we still have a little over $1.3 billion remaining. That should get us through most, if not all, of 2025. We'll be talking more about that in detail as we start talking about the 2023 budget and forecast for 24 and 25. But again, based on preliminary estimates, that should carry us well into 2025, if not through it. With regard to the commodities that we have, that we purchase here with regard to fuel, power, and natural gas, we are locked in for the foreseeable future where we need to be on all three commodities. We've locked in for where we want to be for 22 and 23 for fuel. We'll look for selective opportunities for additional purchases in 24 and 5 as prices avail themselves. And we'll look for also additional opportunities for power and natural gas as we move forward as well. That concludes my prepared remarks. I'm glad to answer any questions regarding July numbers or year-to-date numbers.
Jeremy, the recovery ratio included federal stimulus. Will the 2023 will include federal stimulus, and how much is that going to be?
Yeah, so we still have the ability to use the funding for the calculation, and we also have a waiver from the state government for 22 and 23 as well. So we do have the ability to continue to use those funds, but we also have that waiver in hand. The most important thing is continuing to work with the RTA, the service boards, and other transit advocates for long-term relief with regard to the recovery ratio, as well as the additional funding that we may need as we move forward when the federal relief funding runs out. So we do have temporary relief, but again, we're working with the RTA, the service boards, and other transit advocates to make sure that we have more stability in both the recovery ratio, but also, more importantly, in a lot of ways, just on a cash basis with additional funding.
Thank you.
Director Barkley, any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Director Jha, any questions?
No questions.
Director Miller?
No question.
Director Jakes?
No questions, Greg.
Director Ortiz?
No questions, thank you.
All right, thank you. Chairman, we may proceed to contract numbers A1 through A4.
Our next order of business is the review of contract numbers A1 through A4, transit operation contracts and change orders.
Any questions, Chairman Silva?
I don't have a question.
Director Barkley?
Just with respect to contract A2, I'm just happy to see that it was awarded to a DBE firm is being recommended for the award of this contract.
That's good, yeah.
Thank you. Director Jha, any questions or comments?
No questions.
Director Miller?
No question.
Director Jakes,
No questions, thank you.
Director Ortiz.
No questions.
All right, Chairman, we may proceed to the next item, B1 through B3.
Our next order of business is the review of contract numbers B1 through B3, infrastructure contracts and change orders. I don't have a question.
Director Barclay,
No question.
Director Ja,
No question.
Director Miller,
No questions.
Director Jakes,
No questions.
Director Ortiz.
No questions.
We may proceed to D1, sir.
You can, when you're, our next order of business is contract number D1, a planning services contract. I don't have a question.
Director Barclay,
No question.
Director Ja,
No question.
Director Miller,
No question.
Director Jakes,
No question.
Director Ortiz.
Questions.
All right, and we may proceed to E1, Chairman.
Our next order of business is contract number E1, communications contract. I don't have a question.
Director Barclay,
No question.
Director Ja,
No question.
Director Miller,
No questions.
Director Jakes,
No questions.
Director Ortiz.
No questions.
Chairman, we may proceed to F1 and F2.
Our next order of business is the review of contract numbers F1 and F2, an administrative contract and change order. No questions.
Director Barclay,
No question.
Director Ja,
No question.
Director Miller,
No question.
Director Jakes,
No questions.
Director Ortiz.
No questions.
We may proceed to G1 and G2, Chairman.
The next order of business is the review of contract number G1 and G2 technology contracts. Can you expand a little bit more, okay, in this contract, please?
For G1,
Yes.
so we're asking for a 6-month time extension. And we originally piggyback off the city contract. The city typically has very good contracts for the service. So our intention is to piggyback off them again. They recently extended their services to allow them more time to prepare their procurement. We also want to extend so there's no gap in service.
Is DBE participation?
I believe it is 0.
No, there is no subcontracting opportunities as this is a subscription service for Everbridge.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. No question. Okay. Director Barclay,
No question.
Director Ja,
No question.
Director Miller,
No questions.
Director Jakes,
No questions.
Director Ortiz.
No questions.
Chairman, we may proceed to J1.
Our final order of business today is contract number J1, Fairbox Equipment Contract.
Yes, Chairman, this item is being deferred and will not be heard today. So we may proceed to number 5A.
Since there are no further questions on the contracts, may I have leave to place the 13 contracts on the omnibus?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Those are all the contracts except J1. You may now proceed to 5B, sir.
If there is no further business to come before the committee, may I have a motion to approve the omnibus and recommend the omnibus for board approval?
So moved.
Second.
By Director Ortiz, second by Director Miller. I'll take the vote. Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Jakes,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Director Barclay,
Yes.
Chairman Silva.
Yes.
That motion is approved with 5 yes votes. We may proceed to number 6.
And finally, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Ortiz, second by Director Miller. Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Jakes,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Director Barclay,
Yes.
Chairman Silva.
Yes.
That motion is approved with 5 yes votes. We are adjourned. And we'll take Good morning. We are now ready to begin the regularly scheduled meeting of the Chicago Transit Board for September. Chairman Barkley?
Good morning. I
Morning.
would like to call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Chicago Transit Board for September 14th, 2022. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Yes, Director Jakes,
Here.
Director Miller,
Here.
Director Ortiz,
Here.
Director Ja.
Here.
Director Lee will not be here today. Director Silva,
Here.
Chairman Barkley.
Here.
We have a quorum with 6 members of the board present, sir.
Our first order of business this morning is public comments, correct?
Yes, we have a few public comment speakers today. I would like to remind them all that we ask them to please limit their comments to 3 minutes or so. Our first speaker will be Eric McIntosh. Mr. McIntosh, you may begin.
Good morning to everyone, CTA board members and all those present. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we are.
Very good.
Yes.
My name is Eric McIntosh. I'm a nurse practitioner at Rush University Medical Center and an associate professor in the College of Nursing at Rush. As a nurse and a daily writer of the Blue Line for almost 20 years, I would like to have Narcan accessible at CTA Blue Line stations. A few months ago, after finishing one of my shifts at Rush, I boarded the CTA Blue Line to head home. Within minutes of the ride, a woman had gone unconscious and riders called the CTA operator for help. I assessed the woman and she was barely responsive. She had pinpoint pupils, track marks in her hands, and a rider had reported that he saw her sniffing something before she got in onto the train. So I highly suspected this was an opioid overdose. Narcan is an opioid antagonist medication that is usually given via nasal spray and is used to reverse an opioid overdose rapidly. It can quickly restore breathing and brain function and save the life of a person experiencing an opioid overdose. I asked the riders on the car if anyone had Narcan available, and no one did. I asked the CTA train operator if they had Narcan in the station, and she said no. We waited nearly 10 minutes as this poor woman's breathing slowed before EMS eventually arrived. I've shared the story with my friends and colleagues, and I've been surprised on how many have had similar stories to mine. In 2020, over 1,300 people died of an opioid-related overdose in Chicago. This is an increase from 52% in 2019 and the highest ever recorded in Chicago's history. 86% of those deaths involved fentanyl, which is an extremely potent opioid that increases the risk of overdose. According to the Chicago Department of Public Health, as of July of this year, 37% of the citywide opioid responses have occurred in communities the Blue Line serves. This includes Austin, East Garfield Park, and West Garfield Park neighborhoods. Chicago is responding to the opioid crisis already with Narcan availability in the public. At the beginning of this year, the Chicago Department of Public Health provided Narcan to 14 library branches. Patrons and employees can easily access Narcan and can take up as many kits as they would like. The initial 14 branches were chosen on a geographic analysis of opioid-related overdoses conducted by the CDPH and include communities the Blue Line serves: Austin, West Garfield, Inglewood, Westtown, and Whitney Young. The CTA is also responding to the health needs of its riders with Stop the Bleed initiative, the soon-to-be Narcan vending machine at the 95th station, and partnering with opioid overdose organizations like the Night Ministry and Loyola Medicine, which provide Narcan for those in need. However, these services are not available 24/7, and it does not serve all CTA stations. My ask is that the CTA make Narcan accessible to its riders by having Narcan available at CTA stations. This ask is not to increase the responsibility, workload, or liability of CTA or its employees. In fact, the Illinois Drug Overdose Prevention Law empowers non-medical professionals, including family and friends and other community members, to administer Narcan without any civil or criminal liability. Through existing partnerships, the CTA can be provided with Narcan and training free of charge. And please also consider Rush to be one of those partners. As a society, we do not hesitate to provide CPR or defibrillation to our community members in need, and the same should be for Narcan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh, for those words.
Greg,
Our next-
I have Cynthia in the waiting room. I'm going to bring her in.
Okay, thanks. Our next speaker will,
Cynthia, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Hi, your next speaker, Greg Longini,
Yes.
will introduce you.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Linton, you can address the board now, please. Thank you.
Okay.
We can hear you. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Cynthia Linton, and I live in Streeterville. And because I live just a few blocks off Michigan Avenue, the CTA buses are very convenient for me. When I'm not hopping on a bus to go north or south, I'm walking by them or upon occasion driving alongside or behind them. Buses are everywhere along this route and on some of the side streets also. So every day it pains me to know that these buses are contributing to the climate crisis we are in and the bad air I have to breathe. Chicago air has a failing grade in smog pollution from the Respiratory Health Association. I actually felt safer walking these routes when we were all wearing masks during the height of the pandemic. I know the CTA is committed to an all-electric fleet by 2040, and that's great. But we can't wait until the 2030s to make that happen. We need to begin taking serious action now because global warming and the disruption of climate is happening faster than predicted. In Chicago, we are feeling the effects in heat waves, heavy rains, such as we just had, and rapidly rising and falling lake levels. If you buy 500 more diesel buses in the next few years and let them run out their natural lifespan, they will still be on the streets well into the 2030s, polluting the air and contributing to climate change, which by then will be far worse than it is now. I know the new diesel buses are cleaner than the older ones, but nowhere near as free of pollutants and greenhouse gases as electric buses. You had a couple of demonstration electric buses several years ago and then bought 6 more, which you're running on the Route 66 now. And I recently read that you're using federal infrastructure money to purchase 10 more, and kudos for that. But given the CTA has more than 1,800 buses, that is just a drop in the bucket. Other cities are taking bolder action. The technology is proven, the time is ripe, and the need is great. Our CTA should be asking for much more federal money, like LA and New York City did this year. Don't miss out on this opportunity to get more funds over the next couple of years. I urge you to be more proactive in securing 100% electric vehicles as quickly as you can. Take advantage of all the state or federal money now available to buy buses and set up charging infrastructure. All this takes advanced planning, so please start that planning now for a better, cleaner future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Linton. Our next speaker is Bruce Mainzer. Bruce?
Good morning. My name is Bruce Mainzer, and I have a residence in River North. I am vice chair of the Chicago chapter of the Climate Reality Project. I am a retired mass transit executive, and I have a transportation planning degree from Northwestern. As CTA builds a no-emission fleet by 2040, it is essential that CTA avoids buying diesel buses that will continue to contribute to climate change. The 500 diesel buses CTA is proposing to add to its fleet will emit 48,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide every year. These 500 buses, which are less than 0.03% of all vehicles in Chicago, will cause 1% of all carbon dioxide emissions from all transportation sources within the city of Chicago. I last addressed the board at the July 13th meeting. Since that meeting, we have had a meeting with the CTA staff over the plan that Climate Reality Project proposed. We learned from the CTA staff that overhauling all the new flyer buses acquired in 2006 to 2008 will not be possible. We have therefore changed our plan, and we will be sending you a revised plan that will incorporate the following 3 initiatives to minimize the number of new diesel buses. 1, CTA needs to maximize outdoor spaces at all garages for electric buses. While CTA's current plan properly prioritizes the placement of e-buses first in corridors where air quality is the worst, the impact of greenhouse gas emissions affects planet Earth equally, regardless of whether carbon dioxide is emitted on the south, west, or north side. E-buses should be ordered now and placed wherever they fit, and then moved to the garages as retrofits are completed. Outdoor charging stations can be engineered and completed in less than 2 years and can quickly ramp up capacity for accepting e-buses. 2, CTA can use en-route charging to charge buses before heading to the garage. This is being used at several transit agencies like Milwaukee and effectively avoids the need to charge every electric bus at the garage. 3, CTA should build a new garage now somewhere on the south and west side rather than leave this option as an option in future years, as mentioned in the Charging Forward plan. This garage is needed now, and having it completed sooner will simplify the staging of buses as older garages are retrofit. CTA needs to use all the tools at its disposal to electrify the fleet as soon as possible, instead of waiting sequentially for each garage to be retrofit. Maximizing e-bus procurement will minimize greenhouse gas emissions throughout the next 2 decades and achieve tens of millions of dollars in operating cost savings that are also key benefits of electric bus operations. Thank you for this opportunity to present to you today.
Thank you, sir. Our final speaker will be Olivia Gahan. Ms. Gahan? Ms. Gahan, are you there? Herb, is Ms. Gahan available?
Ms. Kahan, can you press *6 to unmute your line?
Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry about that.
Yes, we can. Thank you, Ms.
Good
Gahan.
morning, board.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. Okay, great. Thank you all for having me again today. I have sent over a long public comment document, and I just wanted to make some notes on some of the highlights of that. This past month, we were able to gather over 800 individual late bus or train reports. And so as stated, my submitted comment is not just mine, and it also includes 385 individuals who commute and cannot rely on the CTA to get home, arrive to work or school on time, are at risk of losing their job, are disabled and cannot physically wait for the bus to arrive, or risk missing their flight if they take the CTA to the airport. The comment below summarizes the wait times for buses and trains very well. I frequently wait over 30 minutes for a bus, and the buses are so infrequent that they get packed. I'm worried I'm going to lose my job to this substantial inconsistency in service. In this past month, as I was going through comments folks had left us, I noticed an increase of folks taking Ubers and Lyfts in order to avoid being late to work. And of course, this is a bummer because Chicago has a CTA, and the CTA should be reliable to take folks around the city where they need to be. And we shouldn't have to rely on rideshare programs to get us where we want to be on time. I appreciate the attention the board has given to the trackers, and I know that there is work to be done and there's work going on, but continue to push to make those as accurate, just to make them accurate, not even to make them as accurate as possible. They should just always be accurate. I also noticed since the last board meeting, looking at the average train runs versus their scheduled runs, they have been down the past 4 weeks. So over the past 4 weeks, there have been an average of 67% of scheduled trains were completed on work days and 59% of scheduled trains on weekends. And so again, updating the schedules to accurately reflect how folks and when folks can rely on the CTA. I hope that you all give the rest of the report a read. Like I mentioned, there are 385 individual comments from other commuters and riders throughout the city, not just my own voice. Thank you all for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Ms. Kahan. Chairman Barkley, Ms. Kahan was the last speaker for today's public comment section.
Thank you, Greg. First, I'd like to acknowledge all of the speakers this morning for sharing your concerns, and we certainly appreciate you doing so. I'd like to open it up to any other board members who may have any comments at this time based upon public comments. Then thank you very much to all of our public speakers this morning. Our next order of business is the President's report. President Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, good morning. As you are aware, last month, CTA unveiled its Meeting the Moment, Transforming CTA's Post-Pandemic Future Action Plan. It is our roadmap to addressing service, workforce, and technology challenges created by the COVID-19 pandemic. Our action plan highlights key elements of our strategy to improve bus and rail service, increase security across the system, and upgrade the technology our customers rely upon, like Ventra and our transit trackers, among other initiatives. At last month's board meeting, I assured you that my staff would move forward aggressively on the initial steps of our plan, and today I'm excited to provide you with an update on our progress. I would also point out that it is my intention going forward to have an update on the progress towards this plan at every board meeting, along with additional data to support the work that we are doing. Since the introduction of our action plan, I have recognized that our hardworking frontline essential employees are key to customer experience and service that we are able to provide. Our bus and rail operators have important, difficult jobs, and they deserve our admiration and respect. But it's an inescapable fact that a variety of factors have led to high levels of employee attrition across the industry, resulting in the workforce shortage that we have been confronting, and we simply, bottom line, need more bus and rail operators. This morning, I am pleased to inform you that last month, we expanded the CTA family of employees by welcoming 80 new full-time bus operators. We're now part of the 250 bus operators we've hired so far this year, and that is just the beginning. We continue our ongoing aggressive and multifaceted recruitment efforts with more employees currently training to join CTA over the coming months. I should point out, however, responsibly training CTA bus and rail operators to go into service is not a quick process, but I believe that we are on the right path. In late August, we took our first steps in our rail service optimization proposal. Though this service optimization on select routes, we took action to align our scheduled rail service with our currently available workforce. The weekday service on the red, blue, and purple lines, as well as weekend service on the red, blue, orange, and brown lines, was amended to begin the process of closely matching that service that CTA can reliably and consistently deliver with our current workforce. The early results of changes are already showing some level of success. On the blue line, instances of large gaps in service, which are more than triple the scheduled interval, dropped 61%. On the red line, large gaps in service dropped 31%. While this is an important initial step in stabilizing our service and to help reduce instances of large gaps, this is just the start. We recognize that there is much more work that we need to do. We also have an upcoming bus and rail employee scheduling picks that are really going to be the foundation to allow us to further improve service reliability. The rail pick is already underway and the bus pick will begin shortly. We are moving in the right direction and we'll continue to make additional adjustments to improve service. Our ultimate goal is to build back our workforce, which is really the foundation of the service that we need to provide, so that our transit service will improve to a level that our customers expect and deserve. And we will continue to keep the board informed as we continue on the progress towards that. In another area, as you are aware, CTA has also just recently reintroduced K9 units to our system as part of our larger security enhancement strategy. Our contractor, Action K9, is in the process of deploying 50 unarmed K9 teams consisting of 2 unarmed guards and a K9 to patrol CTA's rail system each day. These units will supplement the approximately 300 unarmed guards currently working across the system. And the K9 team's responsibilities will include deployment near rail station turnstiles to defer fare evasion and increase an overall security presence. And of course, this is a supplement to the existing Chicago Police Department mass transit unit that is continuing to provide dedicated service to CTA and has also grown over the past several months. With regards to CTA Bus Tracker, another new customer feature that we have introduced is a fully redesigned Bus Tracker website. The new site has a more modern design, is much easier to use, and will allow CTA to make future updates that will result in more accurate and reliable bus arrival times. The bottom line is this will help us begin to eliminate ghost buses. In addition, with a combination of service optimization and future tracker upgrades, we will see a reduction in these ghost buses that have been a problem and have been a source of numerous complaints by our customers. Our design improvements make the tracker more adaptable to whatever device is being used, smartphones to desktop computers, and new navigation features allow for more detailed information to be provided. Our new bus tracker also helps customers to find nearby stops using smartphones, GPS, and provides modernized mapping features for improved real-time viewing of buses across the city. We've also begun to make key investments in our workforce, and I want to highlight 2 things that directly impact our frontline workers. First, we are in the process of installing new, more protective bus driver shields across all CTA buses, a process that will continue until they are outfitted aboard the entire bus fleet. All new CTA bus purchases will include better protective barriers as well. Additionally, this week, we completed installation of 173 new video screens in rail station employee kiosks so that our customer service attendants are better able to monitor activity taking place in the station. This will allow them to make faster, better, and informed decisions about steps to take when disturbances of any sort occur at their work location. We're also focused on initiatives to recruit employees for key positions and to retain established personnel. As a result, we are in ongoing conversation with the unions right now about additional ways we can better achieve these goals. I will intend to keep the board apprised of our progress on these goals and initiatives as we move forward. As many of you have seen in the media reports, late last month, we also unveiled our new Ask CTA community engagement program, which has gotten an overwhelmingly positive public response. By the end of the day, we have completed 8 events, and while we eventually plan to host 13 Ask CTA events through the end of October, we have increased that number by 5 to a total of 18 events, partially in response to requests from elected officials who have asked us to visit stations where their constituents live. Our Ask CTA events provide our customers with an opportunity to ask questions and discuss issues of their choice with CTA senior staff, including department chiefs and vice presidents. Learn more about employment opportunities from representatives of our Human Resources Department, and provide valuable feedback, which is also useful to our staff. These events are important to CTA. People who may not be unhappy with our service, who otherwise would not normally contact us via online feedback portals, are sharing their thoughts and giving us additional information about CTA programs and services. In my view, that connection makes this effort invaluable. We post Ask CTA events dates weekly online, and I encourage anyone interested in attending to join us. The date and station information can be found at transitchicago.com/meeting the moment. In addition to the outreach we are doing across the city with Ask CTA, we're also communicating our progress to elected officials, the business community, and not-for-profits via a newsletter that we are distributing electronically, apprising them of our progress. We want to ensure that we are advising those stakeholders with a comprehensive look at how CTA is improving. Also, as part of our efforts to expand service for our customers, we have reintroduced the number X4 Cottage Grove Express bus route, which serves our South Side and Far South Side customers. The number 4 Cottage Grove bus is among our 10 busiest routes system-wide, and we are excited to make additional service available to our customers that will help those traveling longer distances to enjoy faster transit trips throughout Express and through Express service. The X4 is the third express route to be reintroduced to our system, along with the X9 Ashland and the X49 Western Express routes. In addition, over the past month, we have installed 195 of a planned 1,340 tactile bus stop signs as part of a new pilot effort to benefit customers who are blind or have low vision or are deafblind. The new signs feature the words bus stop in Braille and feature a raised typeface. At this time, the signs can be found along the number 20 Madison route, but crews are installing additional signs and stops along 11 additional routes over the next several months. I want to note that this is a very important initiative to me, and we want CTA to be responsive to the needs of our customers with disabilities. In addition, where possible, I prefer that we work with them collaboratively and hear directly from them about their needs. That is why it's especially gratifying that this initiative was developed in conjunction with the blind and vision impaired customers, as well as CTA's ADA Advisory Committee. In addition, today, we are excited to also unveil our new Meeting the Moment scorecard, which will be publicly available on our website following this meeting. This is a tracking tool that we will use to allow the public to follow the progress we are making in key areas of the action plan. As you can see, this is a comprehensive tool that allows everyone from CTA leadership staff, myself, and the board to members of the general public to follow our accomplishments and the results of the steps that we are taking across several vital areas like ridership and bus and rail service reliability trends. It will track areas including bus operator hiring, tactile bus stop sign installation, progress on refresh and renew of station improvement projects, CTA events, and employee investments. The scorecard will also update on important work being done relative to CTA safety and security, including K9 unit deployment progress and the number of code of conduct violations issued by the Chicago Police Department. The scorecard will be updated monthly, also highlighting our accomplishments chronologically, making it easier for the user to follow what we are doing. I want to be clear that this is one of many tools that we're using to ensure our stakeholders, especially our customers, are informed about our work that we're doing on their behalf. And it is our intention that the scorecard will be a living, breathing document that will be updated and adjusted to reflect the ongoing initiatives that we're pursuing, as well as the progress that we're making on various activities that are identified as a priority by our customers, by the board, and by our employees. In closing, I want to thank you for this opportunity to address the board regarding our progress and assure you that you will continue to receive updates for the foreseeable future. It is my intention, as I indicated earlier, for this to be a regular part of our monthly board meetings and will be presented to you with opportunities to ask questions as we gather more data and information as we move forward. As we make these additional adjustments in some of the areas that I've discussed here today, I will continue to keep you apprised of our progress. I want to reiterate that we are fully committed to improving the CTA travel experience and promise you and our riders that they will continue to see improvement in the new initiatives in the months to come. At this point, I'm happy to answer any questions, but Mr. Chairman, with your approval, following any questions the directors may have, and with your leave, I would then like an opportunity to share something very special with you.
Thank you, President Carter, for the update. As I mentioned in briefings, I'm encouraged by the positive feedback that we've received from the public so far, especially the Ask the CTA program. I think that went over very well, and looking forward to further comments from the general public over the months to come. We still have a lot of work to do, and we all know that, we recognize that, but I want to commend you and your team for the hard work that you've done so far, rolling out the Meeting of the Moments initiative, and we look forward to future updates. I'd like to open it up to any other board members who may have questions at this time or comments for President Carter.
I'd like to join also and just say thank you to President Carter and the team. Good information, and I'm glad that this segment will be part of our board meeting going forward. This helps us out as we meet people, and it also blessing to our customers that are riding. And we just want to say thank you, and yeah, keep up the good work. It also shows the in-depth and the hard work that is being done behind the scene on a daily basis. So thank you and the team.
I agree. I appreciate all of the information that's been put together in really challenging times, and still looking forward to making sure that there is progress and there is transparency. So I appreciate all of the efforts being done on that end, as well as the comments that were done from the public earlier. I think some of these start to address them, and overall, just want to thank you for your leadership and the team as well for all the hard work. Thank you.
There are no further comments. I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to say a couple more things before I go to the next section, which is, I think it's important for everyone to understand that we do understand that we have to be accountable to both the public and to our board about how we address this problem. My staff is working hard every day to try to improve the situation. And I can tell you that I review data around this issue on a daily basis as we continue to try to identify new approaches, new strategies, new ways in which we can correct what is a very extremely difficult problem for us. And as I've mentioned before, for every transit system around the country right now. I hear the complaints, believe me. I hear them just as much as all of you do. And I am not happy with where we are right now. I know we have to do better. As I've indicated in the past, I'm committed to doing better, but I'm also committed to making sure the public knows what we are doing and that they can see the progress that we're making on these. We believe that it's very important that we have performance metrics that measure our success and that we can be held accountable to. And you're going to see more of that as we move forward. At the end of the day, it's in everyone's best interest that we resolve this as quickly as possible and we get CTA back up to the level and quality of service that our customers and the public demand. My staff is committed to doing that. I'm committed to doing that. I know that the board is committed to doing that. And we will continue to keep the public and the board aware of what we're doing as we move forward.
Thank you very much.
So at this time, I would like to discuss the challenges that we are currently facing around our action plan. I'm reminded that during a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, CTA was also able to provide robust bus and rail service to provide a lifeline to our most transit-dependent customers only because of CTA's frontline essential employees who showed up during one of the most challenging times in our nation's recent history. Their performance was a steady and commitment to public service, and they deserve our undying respect. In a broader sense, their determination also reminds each of us of the commitment and responsibility that comes with being a CTA employee. Today, I have the privilege of introducing you to some of our most outstanding employees, whom we are recognizing for their professional excellence, work ethic, and commitment to serving this agency and our customers. Joining us today are CTA bus operators and rail customer service assistants who have received 3 or more accommodations from our customers since March of 2020. Each of these employees has delivered such stellar service that CTA customers have repeatedly contacted our customer service department to let us know how much their great work is appreciated. All of you being recognized today are the first point of contact for our customers. In addition to operating buses and trains and running our stations, you are also CTA's frontline ambassadors, creating a powerful first impression of our agency. The way you treat our customers, answer their questions, and help them to get to their destinations directly affects how they feel about our organization and impacts the public's perception of the CTA. So I am proud to have you with us here today as we acknowledge your efforts. I know that it is not always easy to be cheerful, polite, and patient. So I want you to know your efforts are acknowledged and appreciated. Please come stand behind our board members when your name is called and remain standing until we finish reading all the names so we can take a group photo at the end. For each employee that we recognize today, I will be indicating their work location, years of service, and number of accommodations received today. And I will begin with Eric Brown, who is a bus operator at the North Park Garage, who has 5 years of service and 5 commendations. Next is Elliot DeJohn, bus operator at Chicago Avenue Garage, who has 5 years of service and 3 commendations. Next is Orcadia Flores, bus operator, North Park Garage, 4 years of service and 5 commendations. Joseph Gray, bus operator, North Park Garage, 9 years of service and 3 commendations. Tijo Hope, bus operator at Kedzie Garage, 21 years of service and 5 commendations. Barshika Lyons, bus operator, Chicago Avenue Garage, 7 years of service and 3 commendations. Courtney Ryan, bus operator at North Park Garage, 27 years of service and 3 commendations. Joey Taylor, bus operator at Kedzie Garage, 26 years of service and 3 commendations. Michael Toomey Beckert, bus operator at Forest Glen Garage, 18 years of service and 7 commendations. These bus operators have the awesome responsibility of navigating large vehicles through challenging traffic and weather conditions. In addition to being bus operators, these employees also are often impromptu tour guides, traffic reporters, and more, all while treating our customers with grace, patience, and kindness. Once again, thank you for your exceptional customer service, both to the CTA and to our customers. I would also like to congratulate the following 2 remarkable rail operations employees who have consistently gone above and beyond their duties to provide our customers with excellent service. Please come stand with the rest of your colleagues when your name is called. Alicia Smith, Harrison Red Line Station, 27 years of service and 4 commendations. Alan Kubich, Damon Pink Line Station, 26 years of service and 3 commendations. We are proud of the way each of you help ensure our riders get where they need to go by offering travel information, assisting in vendor questions, and simply greeting customers with a smile and a kind word. Once again, thank you for your service, hard work, and commitment to CTA.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations to each of you for your exemplary service to the Chicago Transit Authority. Literally what makes the agency run. Each of you play a critical role in moving our city. Your professionalism and dedication are greatly appreciated, particularly as CTA works to restore our ridership impacted by the pandemic. You guys have done a masterful job. Continue the hard work. Thank you very much. I'd like to open it up to any other board members who may have comments at this time.
Mr. Chairman, is there a way that, I don't know if there's a camera operator in the room or if it's done by remote, that we can get a tighter shot of the awardees, just so we can see them online?
We're working on it right now, Director.
And do I need to move out of the way? And get a clear shot?
No, actually, we needed to see your beautiful face in there. Okay, now there we go. Well, congratulations to each of you. I'm Director Jakes, and thank you so much for your service. I'm going to assume, because you have on your CTA apparel, that President Dorval Carter did not say that what comes with that award is a day off with pay, huh?
I remind you of the service challenges that I'm still dealing with.
Oh, okay, right, that's right. No, congratulations, everyone. Awesome job, and thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just like to join also and say thank you so much. We know that your job and what you do daily is not easy, but thank you, and we congratulate you on doing a great job. Keep up the good work. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, congratulations as well. We're so thankful for every day that you're out there and supporting all of our city of Chicago and other regions. Thank you for your help. We greatly appreciate it. We're thankful for you. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations to everybody, okay, many years in, okay, how you're doing your job, okay, and congratulations, thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So do we want to get a picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. All right. We have our presidential award tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When you were a conductor, what route were you on?
Thank you.
Yeah. Formerly the Big Dan Ryan.
That
was real quiet. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thanks.
Congratulations. Thank you.
That's great. Oh,
Thank you very much.
thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we continue on, I just want to go off script a little bit and just say, this is a special moment that we don't see, that the public doesn't always see, these individuals that sacrifice and work every day and do a good job. And Dorval, I'm really appreciative for your team organizing this and working to recognize those individuals who do this.
You know, I'm glad you said that, Chairman. We were doing this before the pandemic hit. And when the pandemic hit, we basically suspended bringing them in. We were still recognizing our employees, but we weren't doing this type of ceremony around that. One of the things that I've really tasked my HR department to do is a lot more employee appreciation activity, including events like this, celebrating our graduating class of new employees who are coming onto CTA, recognizing the work that our employees are doing, not just in front of the store, but at the garage level and at the terminal level, because I really do want them to understand how much we appreciate the hard work that goes into running a system of this size every day. And you will see more events coming forward of this nature with the board in the coming months.
Good. Thank you so much. Our next order of business is the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of August 10th, 2022. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Ortiz, second by Director Miller. Director Jakes,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Director Ja. Abstain. Director Silva,
Yes.
Chairman Barkley.
Yes.
That motion is approved with 5 yes votes and 1 abstention by Ms. Ja.
Our next order of business is executive session. It's my understanding, Kent, there is an executive session today.
Yes, Chairman, we will have a closed session pursuant to Illinois Open Meetings Act, Section 2C, subsections 2, 1, 2, 5, 11, and 21.
Thanks, Kent. I will now entertain a motion to recess into executive session, reason stated by counsel.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Miller. Director Jakes,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Silva,
Yes.
Chairman Barkley.
Yes.
That motion is approved with 6 yes votes, and we are now recessed.
Okay, stand by.
Good afternoon. We are ready to go back to the regular board meeting. Chairman Barkley?
Thank you. I will now entertain a motion to return to open session.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Miller. Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Silva?
Yes.
Director Barkley? Chairman Barkley?
Yes.
We have, that vote
Yes.
passes with 5 yes votes. Oh, Director Silva, yes.
Yes.
Yes, that motion passed with 5 yes votes. Let the record show that Director Jakes has left the meeting and Director Lee is not here. So we're back in open session, sir.
We'll now address executive session agenda items 6A, 6B, 6C. Kent?
Thank you, Chairman. Item 6A involves the proposed acquisition of real property located at 3863 West Kinsey Street and 9439 and 41 South Burnside Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, from the Cook County Land Bank Authority.
Thank you. Greg?
Yes, we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Miller. Director Miller?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Silva?
Yes.
Chairman Barkley?
Yes.
That motion is approved with 5 yes votes.
Now address board agenda item 6B. Kent?
Thank you. Item 6B involves the board's review of a Section 28 hearing committee's recommendation regarding CTA's discharge of Ms. Jamie Cabrera. Ms. Cabrera requested a hearing to contest her discharge under Section 28 of the Metropolitan Transit Authority Act. A hearing was held before an appointed hearing committee, and after considering all of the evidence presented in the hearing, the committee recommends that this board sustain Ms. Cabrera's discharge.
Thank you, Kent. May I now have a motion to approve an ordinance sustaining the discharge of Jamie Cabrera?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Miller. Director Miller?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Silva?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barkley?
Yes.
That motion is approved with 5 yes votes, sir.
Thank you, Ken. Our next order of business is agenda item number 6C. Kent?
Thank you, Chairman. Item 6C involves the board's review of closed session minutes for the purpose of whether the need for confidentiality still applies with respect to those minutes and whether those minutes or portions thereof can be made available for public inspection.
Thank you. I move that the Chicago Transit Board authorize the release of all closed session minutes for the years 2015 through 2020, with the exception of the minutes of July 2019 and January 2020, and all minutes or portions of minutes concerning litigation and the settlement of litigation and Section 28 hearings. All released items will be available for public inspection. Greg?
Yes, we have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Miller. Director Miller?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Silva?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barkley?
Yes.
That motion is approved with 5 yes votes, sir.
Our next order of business is board matters. Agenda item 7A. And have a motion to approve an ordinance fixing the salary of Nima Ja as temporary member of the Chicago Transit Board.
So moved.
Second.
By Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Miller. Director Miller?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Abstain.
Abstain. Director Silva?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barkley?
Yes.
That motion is approved with 4 yes votes and 1 abstention.
Our next order of business is agenda item 7B. May I have a motion to approve an ordinance appointing members and chairs to certain standing committees of the Chicago Transit Board?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Ortiz, second by Director Miller. Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Silva,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barkley.
Yes.
That motion is approved with 5 yes votes.
Our next order of business is agenda item number 8, an ordinance authorizing amendments to the authority's public transit agency rail and bus safety plans. Our presenter is Nancy Ellen Sussman. Nancy Ellen.
Chairman. I'm Nancy Ellen Zussman, the Chief Safety and Security Officer for CTA. Before the board are 2 agency safety plans, one for rail and one for bus. Both agency safety plans are required to be approved by the board before they can be finalized. They've received conditional approval from the State Safety Oversight Agency, Illinois DOT, as well as review and concurrence by the Joint Labor Safety Committee last month. I don't know any additional questions, if there are any questions by any of the directors or the chairman.
Questions?
No question.
No question. No question.
Thank you. I now have a motion to approve an ordinance authorizing amendments to the authority's public transportation agency rail and bus safety plans. Greg?
So, moved by Director Ortiz,
Second.
second by Director Miller. Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Silva,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barkley.
Yes.
That motion is approved with 5 yes votes.
Our next order of business is report from the Committee on Strategic Planning and Service Delivery. Director Miller.
Thank you, Chairman Barkley. The Committee on Strategic Planning and Service Delivery was called to order earlier this morning. The committee approved the June 8, 2022 committee minutes. The presentation from staff regarding the new fare box procurement was deferred. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Director Miller. Our next order of business is a report from the Committee on Finance, Audit, and Budget. Director Silva.
The Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee met earlier this morning. The committee approved the August 2022 committee minutes and reviewed the finance report. The committee reviewed and approved 13 contracts. The committee placed the 13 contracts on the omnibus and recommended board approval of the omnibus. And that concludes my report, Chairman Barkley.
Thank you, Director Silva. I will now entertain a motion to approve the omnibus as stated by Director Silva.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Ortiz, second by Director Miller. Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Director Silva,
Yes.
and Chairman Barkley.
Yes.
Motion is approved with 5 yes votes.
Our next order of business is the construction report. Bill Mooney and Juan Pablo Prieto.
Good morning. Bill Mooney, your Chief Infrastructure Officer with your monthly construction update. We can move towards our first project, our Urinary Blue Signals project between Jefferson Park and O'Hare. The project remains tight to schedule and on budget. We've completed the last of kind of the standalone wayside interlocking cutovers at Rosemont West. I've shown you some of the work out there in the recent couple months, and we've started the cutover at Rosemont East, which is the last major piece of work for this project. It's a pretty significant milestone to be at in relief. And we can move to some of the pictures, show you what's going on here. So similar to what we talked about when we did O'Hare, Rosemont East is actually a relay room and not a house. So part of the challenge here is we had to install a temporary signal system that we could operate on while we decommissioned the old one, demoed out all the equipment, and then rebuilt the room with the new equipment. So what you're seeing on the photo on the kind of the right side of the screen is that build out of that room. And in my typical spaghetti photos where you get the bundles of wires coming out of the room or into the room, out to a junction box in the field where they get terminated, and they get terminated into a different set of wires that go to a wayside apparatus. So it's very atypical to what you've seen in all the other cutovers. We can move on to the next photo. And what's kind of unique here, though, is part of the opportunity is we had the interlocking out of service. we had sections of a yard out of service as well to be able to facilitate the work that was going on there, and it was kind of locked out from access. And so we actually had the contractor come in and do some track work for us as well. These switches in the yard get heavily used to facilitate movements in and out of our shop. And photo on the left, you can actually see the maintenance shop in the background. And they're really hard to be able to get access and take apart to be able to do the tie renewals. So it was an opportune time to be able to do that work as well. So here's some of that track work. Next slide. And then this was kind of another interesting portion of it. So the photo on the right is of the tower control panel. So this is actually where we have a person operates this panel and pushes buttons, and this is how they route the train. So we make this, that person makes decisions about whether or not trains are coming into the yard, out of the yard, going towards O'Hare, coming down from O'Hare into the station. And they have to provide routing out of that, and this panel allows them to do that. We had a historical panel here that was being upgraded as part of the project, and the only way to get it up there was to take it up the stairs. So they came up with kind of a ball and chain method where they would level it, twist it, locate it up to the next flight of stairs. This was ultimately 5 flights of stairs they had to get up to get to the tower panel. It was a fair bit of effort, but that's the new panel in place there. Next slide. Our next project is our Irving Park Station escalator and canopy replacement. This is quickly coming to a close. We can move on to kind of the photos. The Plasky escalators in place, fully operational. It's been commissioned at this point and witnessed by the city of Chicago for its clearance of inspection. We're just kind of wrapping up the final things around that, and we'll be hopefully opening up that station entrance shortly. Next slide. And here's the canopy. So most of the canopy is installed at this point, and we are just doing the waterproof testing, though we did have a good test of it on Sunday. I think the canopy actually makes a huge world of difference on this platform. It really brightens it up even on cloudier days. That blue really makes the environment feel more welcoming. Next slide. And here's some of the modules that actually drive that escalator. So this is the controller for the escalator and the technician in the process of configuring it as part of the commissioning process. Next slide. So this is our traction power upgrades project at Kedville, Edmonds, and Sacramento substations. Most of the work is solely focused at Sacramento at this point, and is pretty quickly leaving the traction power phase and going on to the site work, which includes roofing. So we can move into some of those photos. So here's the last lineup going in place this is transporter number 3 at Sacramento. So it's the last piece of traction power work on the project there. And everything else is tied to roofing and masonry work. So we move to the next slide. Here's some of the masonry work. So the courtyard wall for this exterior area for the transformer was a brick wall that actually was structurally unstable. So as part of the project, we're removing the wall and rebuilding it. And so that's the work of focus right now, is now that equipment's in place, they're rebuilding the wall around it. And they are finishing up the roof there. So my next project is our non-rev vehicle shop. We are in the ground there, and most of the work on site is tied to foundational work. I've shown you some of the water retention on site recently in months, as well as some of the H piles we put in for the site. So here is, if we can move to some of the photos, they're really working on the grade beams and the exterior foundational walls. So here on the photo on the left, you can see all the H piles that we were drilling over the previous months with the rebar caps formed in them. And then what they do there is they excavate out around them for a certain dimensional width of what will be the grade beam. And so the exterior of the building will have a large concrete framed grade beam that then the floor gets connected to and floated on top. And it's part of the foundational structure for the slab. Next slide. And again, here's some examples of those helical piles and the caps there, and they're putting down the subgrade in preparation for actually forming out those grade beams. Next slide. Our Barry Damon Canal substation project is moving forward with most of the activity right now focused at Damon. We have also been starting to do some of the prep work around the Canal tie house, which is actually in the subway. Move on to some of the photos. So here is the old foundation removal. So the site that actually we're building the substation on was a historical substation site, and there's actually a bunch of underground foundations from that building still in place. And so the contractor has to dig all that out in preparation for their foundation installation. So here's some of that work going on here. Next slide. And this is the Canal tie house. So this is actually kind of unique. So in the Dearborn subway, they had, when they built the subway, they had actually built 2 sections that turned off to ultimately become a subway on Lake Street at one point in time. And they were looking to build a subway down Lake Street. And these tunnels never were fully built out and they're a very short distance, but there's these kind of abandoned sections of subway there. And we're actually taking advantage of one of those areas, and we'll be putting in the tie house. Now, a tie house is a little different than a substation in the fact that we don't actually generate new power. What we do is we actually borrow power from all the other power sections. So we'll share power on the different tracks of the blue line. And then if you want to flip to the next slide, and it actually will go up to the green line right above it. And we'll actually borrow power and share power from the green line. And so it transfers power between the various sections of track based on where the trains are moving at that moment in time and where the demand of power is. So it's kind of an easier way to bring in that opportunity when there's robust power kind of available, but it just needs to be shared at peak moments on one direction or another. So every once in a while, I like to bring in a project for just a single kind of month. These are one of our short-lived mid-con projects. This is the Evanston Station Central, and this is a stair replacement. So we can move kind of these pictures. I can explain a little bit. So this is the historical stairs for the station. The stairs were structurally compromised and had required a lot of shoring and maintenance over the time. And I think I have another photo here of them that gives you a better sense of it. So this is the underside of the stairs. You can see kind of that rust and deterioration. And so it was a pretty significant effort to keep them in service. They were pushing the very end of their useful life. So we came in with a quick project. It was a $2.4 million project through our MidCom program. We issued a construction contract to Kiewit Construction to do, it was $1.6 million of construction work here, and completely rebuild and restore these historical stairs. We actually had to change the flow of the station temporarily, we built a temporary station entrance that we went through an exit only area where we created new fare structures to be able to facilitate entrance in the station while we took apart these stairs over, it was about a 4-month period. We flip to the next slide. So here's the new stairs going in progress. These are the new steel cast stairs and treads. You can see kind of on the left, the first floor landing of those, and then on the right, that second floor. And next slide. And here's the completed project. So in some cases, not as magnificent as some of these bigger projects we talk about every month, but a really important aspect of keeping our system operational. And I like to highlight these from time to time as they come up. We do a lot of work outside the main projects just to keep the base business and the steady good repair work going. So this is, again, kind of a really neat little project, and just want to take a minute to share it with you. And moving on to refresh and renew, we can continue forward with the main stations, and we've completed work at Harlem, Fullerton, and Library in the recent month, and we're in process at California, Midway, and Central at this point. And our last round of the SB painting contracts are working their way through, and we continue to kind of see great progress on those. So here's some examples of our typical lighting upgrades at Fullerton. Again, as we look at the opportunities for the station, we look outside the interior of the station. We try and deal with the approaches and that output. So this is the LED upgrade over Fullerton Avenue on the brown red line right there. I think the pictures speak to themselves with the big impact of that upgrade. And here is some interior photos, very similar kind of, you can see that difference and creating warmth and sense of security around that, which is lighting upgrade. Next slide. And this one is great. So this is the historical station entrance for Fullerton as part of the reconstruction in the 2000s. The two head houses, which were historical elements, had to be salvaged as part of the project, and they became exit only or auxiliary entrance stations to the main entrances. You can see on the left was the brickwork hadn't been touched since that project in the mid 2000s. And on the right, we gave it a good cleaning, some restoration, and updated the painting. And what a difference kind of that appearance is. And it really, really punches out again. It gives it back some of its architectural glory. The detail work and the stone and trim work is just amazing here. And so being able to really highlight that and bring it back to some great appearance is wonderful. So. And then, some of the other aspects that I've shown you from time to time is kind of, we go outside the footprint of the station into the bus turnaround. So this is at Harlem on the O'Hare branch where we're doing it. And so this is the safety line. So not only about the curb lines here that are painted yellow, but the crosswalk lines. So taking advantage of the weather and being able to get out to those bus turnarounds and reline all that while the weather's in our favor. And this is library. So again, we're getting into some more fundamental infrastructure. We at one point in time had some water damage here. This is street level underneath kind of the main station platform. So they actually took down a portion of the ceiling, repaired the plaster, and then restored it as part of the project. And we'll move on to RPM now. So the project proceeds tight schedule and on budget. We continue to move forward in RPB with the North Main Line reconstruction, the stage 2 work there. And we actually are really focused on starting to form out the deck work and finishing the installation of the beams and the last grouping of caissons and micropiles to support that new structure there. We also continue to do restoration of the existing steel and the brown line structure going out from Clark Junction there. On the LBMM corridor, we continue to work forward with the precast segment installations, and we actually hit kind of a pretty significant milestone as we drilled our last caisson of stage A work up there, which is a huge effort there, and you've seen a lot of photos of those caissons as they've been occurring, and it's an important part of the process. But you know, it's a big win for us to get to that point. So we can move on to some of the photos here. So here on the RPB side is one of the caissons being drilled for this is the North Main Line stage 2 work. The area between kind of Addison and Belmont on the red purple lines and those 2-track corridor or 4-track corridor there. Next slide. And here's that same area with the precast beams that I've shown you being installed over the previous month, and they're starting to build out the formwork for what ultimately will be the concrete deck that the ties and rails will be installed upon. And the next photo showed you some of that formwork now up top and close. So you can see actually the eared up rebar that's part of the foundation of the beams that ultimately the concrete deck gets poured and cast into and ties that whole system together. Next slide. Here we are up on LBMM. This is building up the columns and concrete caps. As I mentioned, we finished the last of the caissons, and once the caissons are poured in the ground, then we start building up those columns and caps, which is ultimately where the segments end up landing. Next slide. And here's the segment. So what's interesting in this photo is actually this is the only area where we have a middle track up here. And what happens is they actually build the segments for the middle track, fully build that section, and they place them on a beam, and then they slowly slide them over from underneath the gantry into their position in the middle track. So it takes a little longer to actually move through this section because there are 2 sets of spans that they're building for each block. But they continue. We also are operating a night shift here. This is an exceptionally quiet operation and keeping to push that production rate going forward. Next slide. And then on the far end of the project, where we've already installed all of our concrete segments, is they've started forming track, and they've now formed about 1,000 feet of track on each track for both track 3 and track 4, and they're beginning to prep it for installation of rail, and as they continue to work south, pouring new track. And we move on kind of to the outreach efforts. So we continue our coordination with the 44th Ward and 48th Wards around the project. We also regularly host virtual office hours for constituents to be able to engage with our staff and talk about the project or raise issues and concerns. We continue to push forward our Open for Business campaign. We've been doing a series of Facebook Live promos. The most recent one was the African safari imports. You can actually watch these videos. They're really great. We have a host that comes in and does an interview with the business owner, talks about kind of the experience of the store and how they're set up and the opportunities there. If you get an opportunity to check out any of these businesses, I most recently was in there with my family at the African Safari Imports. It's a really neat store. It's actually just a fun experience in and of itself to be able to go take some trips and experience some of those stores in that area. We've done a couple of local tours with MIT research assistants who are under internships for the summer with us, as well as we participated in the Gowdy Elementary Back to School Bash. So some of you may remember the Gowdy Elementary kids. We've had a partnership. They're directly adjacent to Project Footprint, and they actually were the group of kids who named the gantry and were participating in the Name the Gantry contest. So we were out there for their back to school event, handing out some tokens relevant to the project and just being there in coordination with the community. And with that, I'll turn it over to Juan Pablo.
Thanks, Bill. Good morning, directors. Juan Pablo Prieto, Director of Diversity Programs. CTA continues to meet with the contractor monthly to discuss DB and workforce outreach and compliance. We continue to send out opportunities along with from the prime contractor to the DB community so they're aware of the trade packages and how to submit their bids. Open career opportunities with the prime and their subs are sent to our workforce partners, Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership and Hire 360, so they can refer interested and qualified candidates that meet our workforce goals. In August, both of our workforce partners hosted outreach events highlighting careers in the construction trades and potential pathways to workforce opportunities on RPM. Both events featured presentations on the building trades, the RPM project, introductions to the organizations involved in the workforce referral process, and networking opportunities for the attendees. The partnerships event was held August 17th at the Westside Job Center, and Hire 360's event was held August 31st at St. Augustine College. CTA also attended the Paul Simon Job Corps Center graduation on August 19th to support Natalie Farres Morocho, as she graduated as a carpentry pre-apprentice. Natalie heard about Job Corps through her brother, who participated in the RPM Tracks to Trades program through Senn High School. We look forward to connecting Natalie to contractors on RPM and other CTA projects that are looking for carpenter apprentices. And we will continue to find opportunities to connect individuals that qualify with Job Corps to pursue their career paths. As of August 31st, DBEs have been awarded over $228 million between the design and construction packages. This accounts for 84 unique DBE firms, 32 of which are new to CTA. On the workforce side, as of August 31st, 1,594 unique individuals have worked over 823,000 labor hours and earned over $47 million. That concludes my portion of the report. We're happy to answer any questions.
I don't know if there are any questions for Juan Pablo or myself at this time.
Barkley, any questions?
No questions.
No question. Good job. Good job. Thank you.
Bill, I do have one question. Did you say there was a subway tunnel under Lake Street?
No. So what when they built the Dearborn subway, Mr. Chairman, they had intended to actually divert and have a transition and ultimately build a subway all the way down Lake Street, and it never actually came to fruition. It was part of kind of the master transportation plan for the city at the time. And so there's a little turnoff in the Dearborn subway that was intended to be that connection point. And that's where we're actually going to be building our breaker room for Canal Tie House.
Okay. All right. Good.
Not running secret subway service.
Thank you. Never took that route before. Thank you. Okay. Our next, Mayor?
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes. Continue, sir.
Our final order of business is new business. Greg, is there any new business?
No, sir.
Since there's no further business to come before the board, may I have a motion to adjourn the Chicago Transit Board meeting of September 14th, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Miller. Director Miller?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Silva?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barkley?
Yes.
That motion passes with 5 yes votes. We are adjourned, sir.
Thank you.
Have a